This video is called Lantern Park due to the fact that they have all the military personnel housed at a large condo complex called Lantern Park that borders a forest section called Larkin Bridle Trail. The military took over this area to sacrifice children. I'm going to have a map of the area that shows how everything is set up. At first I was walking along the main trail and saw a little path in the woods. There was a little fire pit a couple yards in, almost marking this back entryway into the sacrifice locations. So I followed this scarce path through the woods, and the first thing I see was these strands of duct tape. A couple more steps up the hill led to a valley section where campsite 1 was. There I noticed lots of alcohol cans, a few burnt branches that seemed too large for a fire pit and were only burnt on one end. And a couple old garbage bags buried in the ground. There was also a shopping cart that was filled with burnt debris. I then decided to walk across the valley section and then up the hill. I noticed that there was a clearing a ways up the hillside somewhere because the trees were missing, and I guessed that if the cult was operating in this site, that would probably be the place they would gravitate to in case they had rituals at night, which would allow the moonlight in, and also from that height would give them an advantage to watch from all sides for any unwanted traffic. So at the top of the hill there was indeed a clearing with a fire pit in the middle and a boulder with some old graffiti that appeared to be cult signs. One looked like a skull with a triangle leading up to a cross. And on the other side was a white dragon in the shape of an S curling into a spiral. All of these have cult significance. For example, the spiral means pedophilia. If I had to guess, the art style appears to be done in a Latin American fashion, and the paint looks at least 20 years old. Around the fire pit are several thin logs. I can't imagine any adult sitting on them. They are also suspiciously burnt on the ends. There's also a burnt tree stump. Continuing in the same direction, if you walk to the other side of the hilltop and then start to go downward into the lower section of land, you'll see the location of a third campsite. I noticed 2 drink containers for children were left on the hillside, while at the bottom, the whole area was covered with trash. There were lots of beer and alcohol containers and wrappers for food strewn all around the area. Due to the larger clearing section, if there were large amounts of people being brought in for these human sacrifice rituals, I guess this location 3 to be the area. What got my attention also was the several aerosol and body spray containers that were left in the area for reasons that became apparent. Because what I also noticed were dozens of burnt trees. I first noticed this burnt log laying against this rock, and I thought to myself that this was a very dangerous thing to do in the woods, to light something on fire in this fashion. And that was when I noticed that trees all over the area had been burnt like this at their base. I then guessed that the military had been tying people to the trees and logs and then using the aerosol spray to light them on fire. Due to the fact that most of the burns on the trees were close to the ground, I assumed that most of these victims were children.